Hey, what's up? It's your old pal, Mr. Cook. Looks like we've got three more problems to work on for this review. The review that goes from 6.3 to 6.4. It's in preparation for a quiz that we're going to have. We've got through the first three sections, so the first 11 questions from the review, and now we've got this last section that has to do with word problems. Um, so just three problems. Set up an equation that can be used to solve the problem, then solve the equation. All right, so let's get to it. Number 12, it says landscaping. A landscaping company charges $10.75 for every bush they remove and $60 as a fee for coming to your house. So the company will charge you $60 automatically. So that's also like a floating amount. And then they'll charge $10.75 for every bush. So whenever it says like for every or per or something like that, that's a rate that's usually multiplying onto a variable. So this 1075 is a number that we're going to write down also, and it's usually going to be multiplying onto a variable when it has a rate, the rate kind of verbiage after it, okay? So this is the amount of money that they're going to charge for every bush that they cut. This is the amount of money that they're going to charge just to go there. So if you add that total amount, that's going to be how much that they're going to charge you total. Okay, so we'll call that T. So usually what we ask you to do is also write down what the variables mean. I don't know, just from teacher to teacher, it kind of depends, but X is equal to the number of bushes that they have to cut down, and T is equal to the total amount of money, so the money that they charged at the end. All right, so there's the equation that we're asking for, so set up an equation. Now we got to solve it for some specific instance. So the next sentence is probably going to give us like a specific measurement. So it said, how many bushes did the landscaping company remove if the total bill was $113.75? So the total amount was $113.75. Which variable is that? Is that X or T? Yeah, that's the T one. So if I set it up, $113.75. It looks like I've got to solve for the X variable in here. And, this is just going to follow my solving algorithm. So I'm just going to do this, the technique that I usually do. I want to get X by itself. So I have to use reverse order of operations to solve it. So I got to get rid of any adding or subtracting on this left-hand side of the equation. Okay, so on this side of the little line that I have there. So I'm adding by 60. So that means that I've got to get rid of adding by 60. So I have to subtract by 60. On both sides. So I subtract by 60 here as well. And that'll get rid of this part right here. 60 and 60 go away. And then if I use my calculator for that number, 113.75 minus 60. Looks like I get 53.75. Okay, so this turns into 53.75. Okay, and then the next thing that I need to do to get X by itself is the following. So I still have a number attached to it, so that means it's multiplying. So to get rid of multiplying by 1075, I divide by 1075. So I do that with this side as well, divide by 1075. And the 1075 at the top and the bottom cancel out, leaving me with just the X by itself, which is the number of bushes that they trimmed, the landscaping company trimmed. So let's see what number we end up with here. So X equals what? Let's see what that is on our calculator. 53.75 divided by 10.75 equals 5. So that just becomes 5 for X. And since it's a word problem, always consider units, and these are going to be units. It's the answer is going to be how many bushes, so 5 bushes would be my answer for this. Okay, there you go. So there's number 11, our first word problem. Next up, construction. The total floor space in 3 barns is 9,000 feet squared. The 2 smaller ones have the same area, and the largest one has 4 times the area of the smaller one. What's the floor space of each barn? So I'm going to kind of ignore this part first, the amount of area, and just focus on the other part. So it doesn't really say anything about the space itself, but I'm going to assume it's like a rectangular kind of shape. And then it says that I have two smaller parts of this area and one large one. So I'm going to just kind of represent that in my little diagram here. I have two smaller ones, one larger area. So it says that the two smaller ones have the same area. I don't know what that area is. And since I don't know it, I'm just going to call it X. I'm going to say that this has an area of X. And the other smaller one has the same one. So that's going to be an area of X as well. The largest one has 4 times the area of the small ones. So 4 times the area of the small ones. If the area of the small ones is X, this large area is going to be 4X. So here's the deal. If I take each of those individual areas, X, X, and 4X, if I want to find the total area that makes up this whole space, what I would do is add them together. So I'm going to add them together, and that's going to give me the total area. Now, if you notice, we have an X, another X, and then 4 more X's. Those are all like terms. So I would want to combine like terms to, simplify my expression before I start to attempt to solve it and everything. So let's combine them together. I've got 1X here, 1X here, and 4 more X's there. So 1 and 1 makes 2. And then if I add on 4 more, that's a total of 6 X's. All right, there we go. So 6X is equal to the area. And that's like if I have any area, so any area at all, if I divide it, I can find X really, really easily, which is the area of the small portion with this equation. So if I know that the area is 9,000, so that's going to be A in this particular case, 9,000, then I'm able to find the X value really easily from this equation. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to solve for X. So the way that I solve for X to get X by itself is since it's multiplying by 6, I have to divide both sides by 6. So I divide both sides by 6 here. The 6's cancel out, leaving X all by itself. And then it's just calculator time at this point. So what is 9,000 divided by 6? So I use my little calculator, 9,000. Oops. Divide by 6. I get 1,500. So X is equal to 1,500. Now, I also have to know that the floor space, the small area of the floor space, it's a word problem, so I have to check for units. And since this is area, it's going to have units squared. So I see that in there. It's feet squared. It says to find the floor space for each barn. So for this small barn and for this small barn as well, both of those are going to be 1,500 feet squared. Now, this one is 4 times that amount. So if I use my calculator on that, 4 times 1,500, that's going to give me 6,000. So that means that this larger area is 6,000 feet squared. And there's the area of each individual part, and that's all that I needed to solve for. So there's number 13. Last one for the review, number 14, is about modeling. Your family is building a vegetable garden. You've decided that you want the garden to have a perimeter of 30 feet. What should the dimensions of the region be if you wanted the width to be 15 feet greater than length? So there's a key bit of information that is missing here, and that's the shape of the garden. So it could be a triangle, and that would be something, for the perimeter and everything. It could be a rectangle. It could be a lot of different stuff. So this problem needs probably a word in there. And let's add that word in here because I'm pretty sure they mean it's rectangular. So your family is building a rectangular vegetable garden. So if we drew a diagram for it, just be a regular old rectangle. Some nice things that we know about a rectangle is that the opposite sides are the same. So whatever side this length is, let's call that the width. And whatever side this side is, the length. The sides across them are going to be the same. Now, there's a couple of things from geometry that you have to remember in this problem. When it says that the perimeter is 30, you have to know what that word perimeter means. Perimeter means it's like the outline of the shape, right? Or the way I like to think of it is it's the sum of all of the sides. So all the sides added up. So if I wrote this down, the perimeter, for any rectangle is going to be equal to the following. It's going to have one of the width sides and one of the length sides. and then the other length side, or the other width side, and the other length side all added together. Okay, so I have to add them all together. That gives you the perimeter. Now, if I combine like terms, because I notice that I have a W here and a W here, that makes a 2W. I have two L's here too, so that's going to make a 2L. That's a simplified way to write out the perimeter. So there's a couple other things that we should know here. And that's our formula that we're using, but then the perimeter is equal to 30 feet. So the perimeter is stuck at being 30 feet like that, okay? Okay, so let's read the question one more time because we've got a formula for the perimeter with these side lengths, the width and the length. So what should the dimensions of the region be if you want the width to be 5 feet greater than the length? So let's kind of unpack that a little bit. You want the width to be 5 feet greater than the length. So if I use some examples over here, I think something important is going to be, it's going to show up. So the width is 5 feet greater than the length. So if I know one of the lengths, like let's say that the length here is 5, then what's the length going to be? Or sorry, what's the width going to be? Well, the width is 5 more than that. So it'd be 10. If the length was 7, what would the width be? So if the length is 7, then what we would do is we'd add on 5 feet, and that would give me the width. So it'd be 7 plus 5, or 12. If I knew that the length was 107, what I would do to find the width, since it's 5 greater than that, it'd be 107 plus 5. So, I guess my point is this. If I know the length, then the width is really just going to be the length plus 5, okay? So that is going to help us out in solving. Because if we have an equation, but it still has two variables like W and L, we need a second equation to solve for one particular answer or solution to that system of equations. But if we have a relationship between the width and the length, like we have in this problem, we can actually replace the width part of this with that other part. So with the L plus 5. And if we do that, now it's in terms of one variable, so we only need one equation to solve this out. But first we need to simplify it. So we're going to, do your due diligence to simplify it. We're going to distribute the 2 in here. So that gives us 30 is equal to 2 times L plus, and then 2 times 5 is going to be 10 plus 2L. And then we notice that we have some like terms, a 2L here and a 2L here. So if I have 2 L's and I add on 2 more, that's going to give me a grand total of 4 L's. And now I think that we can't simplify it any further because we can't combine like terms or anything. So this is the equation that we're supposed to solve. So let me write it up here. 30 equals 4L plus 10. That's the thing that we're supposed to solve, like the equation, okay, that they're asking us to find. So now we just go ahead and get into our solving algorithm. So we want to get L all by itself. So to do that, we get rid of any adding or subtracting. First, I notice a plus 10 over there. So I'm going to subtract away 10 on both sides. All right, so this plus 10 and this minus 10 will go away. 30 minus 10 is going to be 20. So now we have 20. And 20 is equal to 4L. Well, if I want to get L all by itself, it's being multiplied by this 4. So how do you get rid of times 4? That's right, you divide by 4. So we divide both sides by 4. The 4's cancel out here, leaving the L all by itself. And now all we have to do is just a little bit of division. So 20 divided by 4, if you use your calculator, you'll get 5 for that one. Okay, so it asks us to find the dimensions, as in both of them, the width and the length. We just found the length. The length is equal to 5. And do we have units on that? We do. See, it's feet over here, so 5 feet. And then the width can be found in the following way. Since we know the length is 5, the width is going to be equal to L plus 5. So if we just add 5 onto that, it'll give us the width. So it'll be 10 feet. And those are the 2 dimensions that we have for this word problem. Okay, so that completes the 4th section of the review. And it also completes the whole review assignment. Okay, so I hope that you found this helpful. If you didn't, go find your math teacher, get some help from them. I'm Mr. Cook. I'm always available to help you guys out. I'll be on campus before school or after school, but even if you need help, just send in an email. Go ahead. I want to help you out. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and good luck on your quiz. All right, bye-bye.